Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Malai, and before I actually start uploading any content, I wanted to do an introduction video about me, about this channel, about why I'm creating it, and who my target audience is. So I was born in Mexico 20 something years ago, but when I was 3, my mom decided to move me and my siblings to the United States. So she took us. She didn't ask. We weren't asked. We were kids. Our opinion didn't really matter. It mattered what my mom thought was best. So with that being said, I did have an illegal entry, and with that, my time in the United States, I was undocumented. The last couple of years, I was documented, but I never felt like I was undocumented. I always felt like the United States was my home. I always felt like I was from there, and I didn't really understand what being undocumented was until I was in like high school. And I know that as a community, whether you're undocumented, you're documented, there comes a point in your life where you toy with the idea of moving back. Granted, I know some countries you simply cannot move back to because it's not safe or the economy sucks, or I get that. But I know that at one point or another, we toy with the idea. We get frustrated, we get fed up, especially right now with everything that's going on politically. I know that many people just toy with the idea. They think of it and they want to, but they're scared of making the move. So I began to toy with the idea of moving back when I was 18, my senior year in high school. I was applying to different colleges and to different universities, and I got to accepted into most of the ones that I applied to. But I lived in North Carolina, and so if you were undocumented, you had to pay outstate tuition to most universities that did accept undocumented students. And so for me, no matter how bad I wanted to go to college, I wasn't going to put my family through that financial strain. So I reached out to family in Mexico, and I was like, what can I do? Granted, I didn't do that on my own. I actually didn't know what to do. I was crying. I was so just disappointed. I felt cheated. I felt betrayed. And an amazing ESL teacher that I never had as a teacher, but she was just so amazing. She still is. Shout out to you, Miss Simpson and Miss Crispon. Both of you guys helped me so much. Helped me and a lot of us that went to that high school. But yeah, this ESL teacher saw me crying. She told me, you're acting like the United States is the only place that has decent or good universities. So I was like, you're right. So because of that, I reached out to family in Mexico. I decided to look into what I needed to do to come and study here. So I did. And that was in 2012. That was before DACA was announced. So I graduated, and like 5 days after I graduated, Obama announced DACA. Now, I had the idea of moving back. I had already told all my friends, like, my yearbook is filled with, I'm gonna miss you, good luck in Mexico. So I had told all my friends, I had told all my family, but then DACA was announced, and my mom and my family were like, well, there's no point in you moving. But I'm a pessimistic, so I am pessimistic. I'm not a anyways, I'm pessimistic. I was very pessimistic about it, and my mind jumped to 4 years after Obama was no longer president. My mind said, so what's gonna happen? Like, is the new president gonna keep it? Is he not? Like, is it gonna be worth it for me to go to college, get a 4-year degree, and then not be able to work in my degree? With my degree. So I was very skeptical about it. I didn't want to apply. But at the end, I stayed. I took a year off school. I worked. I applied for DACA. I applied to college again. Got accepted to an amazing HBCU. And so I stayed for another 4 years. But then 2016 happened. And, all of you, my target audience, you know what it was like hearing this rhetoric that the president started to say and to tell, and it just kept on getting repeated. And it didn't feel right. My anxiety just kept on skyrocketing. And I did an interview with The Guardian, talking about how in Charlotte, specifically North Carolina, um, even if you went to school and you got an education degree, or you went to school to become a lawyer or to become a doctor, being documented, at least that's what we were told, that if you were documented, you couldn't apply for professional licensure. That meant that even if I applied to get my teacher license to actually teach in North Carolina, I couldn't, because I was documented. And that's what I was going to school for. I wasn't an education major, I was an English major, but I wanted to be an English teacher. That's what I wanted to be. And because of that, I couldn't apply for a teacher licensure. So we were told. So I was very frustrated. I was in my senior year in college this time, and I didn't know what to do. And then some family, very personal stuff happened, and my anxiety was just through the roof. And then constantly hearing, we're taking DACA away. No, we're not. No, you can't take DACA away. And just all this news about DACA and the undocumented community, and then seeing all the raids, and then personally being affected by those ICE raids. Not me, obviously, but someone very close to me, someone in my family. And it got to the point where I said, I can't do this. I don't want to be here. I don't want to feel trapped anymore. I'm tired of hearing this. I'm tired of feeling that everyone is just so unwelcoming of undocumented. Granted, it's not everyone, it's just a few. But when you live in a small town like I did, that specific town that I lived in, it felt like you weren't welcome anymore in certain places, in certain areas. And it was just so frustrating. And to see my family, like, if we were just out in a town, or if we were like at a park or something, we would just like get this tense, we would get like tensed up if we saw a cop, or because of the ICE raids, if we heard a knock at the door and we weren't expecting someone, we kind of tensed up, and everyone just looked at each other. And I was very tired of that, and I didn't want to live with that anymore. And like I said, I had some other personal, very, very personal issues going on with the ICE raids. So in March of 2018, I said, that's it. I'm definitely moving. And I bought my tickets, went to Mexico City, and then went to San Luis Potosí, which is where I live. And here I am. And it has been a very interesting experience so far. And that's why I want to create this channel, because I know that the news, like, it just is so over dramatic. It just emphasize on, oh, there's so many crimes, so much drugs, so much corruption, cartels are like everywhere. When I'm not diminishing those things, because they're very real. But I live in a city just like, and the crime is just like if I lived in LA, or New York, or somewhere in Florida. Like, the crimes are the same, but because the media just wants all these views and all this attention, they just over dramatize it. When, yeah, crimes happen, but it's no different than if I lived in East LA, or if I lived somewhere in New York, or somewhere in Miami or Orlando. Like, things happen, crimes happen all the time. So I don't want to focus on that, because yeah, there's violence, but I'm always going to compare it to any big city anywhere in the world. Crimes happen. Like, unfortunately, that's just how things are. But I do want to show you guys the good, the bad, the beautiful, the amazing things that I've experienced so far. Granted, my channel's basically going to be my experience. It's going to be completely different than someone else. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy my channel, and please subscribe. So with that being said, welcome to the Diary of a Native Foreigner.